Alright, so as I explained on the website, the features that I'm demoing in this lesson are pretty specific to Photoshop CS6 and later versions. CS6 went through kind of a major rework in the paths and lines sections where they gave us some options like fill and stroke and editable line, which were amazing. They're totally awesome. You should totally update your Photoshop and try it out, or at least try out the trial. But since you don't have that option available, I'm going to show you how to do this exact same homework assignment but without the lines. So instead of working in your layers, you're going to be working mostly in your paths. So if you don't have your paths panel open, open it from the window and make it available to take a look at. And let's see, looks like I've got some old paths on here, so let me clean those off. Yours should be empty. So get your pen tool and set it to path. I can't honestly remember what other options there are or if that's even an option, but I believe it is. I think it was. Once you're on a path, this will do the same thing that I'm showing to the other ones, and you'll have to watch these other tutorials to get this information. But it won't have a colored line along it. It will just be this gray line with little points. Now if you look on your layers, there's nothing there, so you have to be in your paths. If you'll notice in your path, you now have what's called a work path, and it's in italics. Work paths are temporary. If you closed your file right now, it would be completely gone. To make it into a path that'll stick around, all you have to do is double click on it and give it a name, or click it and drag it down to the new path, and then it will automatically name it path 1, and it is no longer in italics. So now you can actually save that file and close out, and then I'm going to open this up again so you can see it. I have to do it from Photoshop because I've got a real huge mess going on my desktop. And when you open it, if you look in your layers, you're not going to see any of that path that you just did. But if you click on your paths panel, it's still there. And if you click on it once, that will make it active. And once you have your pen tool and you've watched these other tutorials, you'll know how to adjust and change those paths. So if you keep if you're just on this one path and you keep doing the exercises, they will all occur on this one path layer, which honestly is just fine for this exercise. However, down the road there will be times when you want them on different layers. And when I say layers, I don't mean a layer, but a path layer. To do that, to create a new path, just click the new button and the old ones will disappear, and then you can create a new path. And if you want the old ones back, you just have to click on it and click on the new path, and that will get you the path. So that is how you would do your homework assignment. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's tracing shapes, and if you do it exactly the way I just showed you for shapes 1 through 4, that is just fine. For the very last one, and I do apologize, this is a little backwards, you might want to hop ahead, watch the tutorial on the homework, and then come back and see this. For the very last number 5, you're going to be creating a boat with a bunch of different shape layers if you were using the current version of CS6, or not the current version, but version CS6. So here's how you would go about doing that. I'm going to just make a new layer and fill it with white. And you know what, in fact, I'm just going to open that right now. This is going to be your secret video for the whole assignment. And here it is. Okay. So the homework assignment, you will do what I just showed you. You will come in and start by getting your pen tool and making a path and carefully outlining each one of these objects. And you want to make your path permanent so you can save your file, and when you open it, it will still be there. If it says work path in italics, it will be gone. So click and drag that down to the new path. The new path symbol. Okay, so that's what you'll do for all of these 1 through 4. Now the boat's a little bit different. To fill a shape, you will actually be working in raster, not vector. So I would make a new layer, and you will be using your pen tool like a selection tool. So you would create a pen outline or a path, and in this case this path is not going to need to stay permanent. So I'm just going to super rough do this. You guys will take much more time and make it look absolutely gorgeous, right? Yes, yes, I thought that's what you'd say. Oh my gosh, you can tell it's way late at night. I need to stop doing these tutorials so late in the evening. If my life would just slow down just a tiny bit, that might actually be an option. Alright, so you would make your path, and instead of, well, first off, you can save it as its own path if you would like. You could pull that down to the new path, and there we've got the ship water path. But what we really need to do is create this color graphic for it. So what you'll do is change this into a selection. You can do that by, in your paths panel, clicking on the little dotted line circle at the bottom, and it will change that path into a selection. Then you can create a new layer, pick your color, and then fill it. So edit, fill, or option delete. I want to use our foreground color and click OK, and then deselect, Command D. So now if I grab my move tool, I have right here my graphic that has that water on it, and that's what you're going to do. So just in case you didn't catch it the first time, grab your pen tool, make a new layer, and then click around it to carefully select everything that you need selected. And then hit Command Enter, which is the short key, or go to the paths and click on the little Make Selection button and then fill in the layer with color. That's how you will do this assignment, and you need to layer your layers up so that they look like this graphic in the end. I know that's a little bit of a roundabout for you guys, but honestly this is a Photoshop CS6 class, and if you haven't been working in CS6, you know that sometimes we run into snags like this. Once again, I'll remind you that as a student you should be able to get Photoshop. For sure you can get the Photoshop Lightroom subscription for $10 through Adobe. And I believe USU has where you can get the access to the Master Suite as a student for a very, very small price compared to what you would normally, and that would be while you're in school. Now if you're an off-campus student, I'm not sure how that works. You can contact the folks in the ITLS department. Probably also the bookstore would have that information of how you could find out what sort of a deal USU has worked out with Adobe for its students. So if you can do this homework assignment in CS6, it'll be a lot simpler for you. But if you can't, watch this tutorial, get that trick down, and do it that way. Just make sure that you save your paths, because that's what I'm going to look for when I open up your assignment. If you don't save your paths, it might just be completely empty at the end of the day, and that's not what you want your assignment to look like. So good luck. Shoot me an email if you run into any big snags. Yeah, good luck.